Hello everyone and welcome to this week's reviews. For years, Fred Rogers taught children about kindness and empathy with his puppets and sweaters. Now there is a documentary about him and his neighborhood. This is Won't You Be My Neighbor? Before I start this review, I have something to admit. I have never watched a single episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Somehow, it did not manage to slip in between my viewings of Sesame Street and Shining Time Station and the Magic School Bus and the Big Comfy Couch and Polka Dot Shorts. So for me, it was interesting to watch this documentary from the perspective of a novice. The film primarily serves as a look at who Fred Rogers was and how he implemented his ideas into his television series. It's at its best when it steps outside of the studio and shows his perspective of the world and what frustrates him about subjects like war and children's television. I especially like the section on how he went before Congress to get additional funding for PBS. Director Morgan Neville gets plenty of interview subjects, including crew people, actors, and his family, and they provide a mixture of views about Mr. Rogers and how his off-screen personality somewhat differed from the person on screen. While it could have been a puff piece, the documentary does present some revelations about how he dealt with life's difficulties. Where I think it falls short is getting into the behind-the-scenes of how they put the show together. As somebody with an interest in children's television, I would have liked to learn more about the writing of the series and the other elements that went into creating the show. But that's not what Won't You Be My Neighbor is about, which is fair. I think this will have the biggest impact on those who grew up watching Mr. Rogers enter that doorway and put his sweaters on. It'll definitely serve as an emotional nostalgia trip for those, and even I can see what a big impact he had on many people, and how he sought to be kind to people he felt were not getting the respect they deserved. Next up is something very different from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, as we explore a grief-stricken family in Hereditary. I'm going to say right off the bat that this is a really intense horror film, and probably is not for the faint of heart. However, the moments of shock that occur in Hereditary are not just there for the sake of it. Part of what makes this film work is that the director and writer, Ari Aster, uses the character development as a way to earn the scary scenes that happen. We see how each of the family members deal with grief differently, and their points of view are understandable. The proper time is given to explore each of them, and what's going through their minds even as things get more and more bonkers. This is also helped by the excellent performances from the actors, especially Toni Collette and newcomer Millie Shapiro, who plays the younger sister of the family. She doesn't even have much dialogue, using mostly her facial expressions, and she does a superb job. Hereditary also uses setting to its advantage, especially the house with its creaky wooden floors. The camera work especially deserves commending, including how they utilize the models created by Colette's character. And I was also impressed by the special effects, which definitely made me curious with how they pulled them off. As I said, Hereditary will not be for everyone, and it is one of those slow-burn horror films. But our patience is rewarded. Thank you for watching this week's reviews, and I'll see you next time.